Kun Cassius, IFL TV, MTK Global, joined by... You look like you've aged tonight.
Oh, mate, I've aged this week. Johnny. Just pleased to get the win. You know, it was like one of those sort of no-win fights where, same kind of thing, everyone just presumes that Dillian Whyte will be in. We don't know a lot about Oscar Rivas. You know, we knew about Oscar Rivas. People in boxing knew about Oscar Rivas. And I was worried because I just thought, banana skin, like, just get the job done. And it was, as always, thrilling with Dillian Whyte. You know, second round was epic. I thought he had him. Third and fourth he boxed beautifully, and then Rivas just started coming back into the fight a little bit. The knockdown in the 8th was it, I think, and then Dillian boxed beautifully in the next round and then hurt him repeatedly, and great body punching. I think he landed like 50 punches, 50 jabs a round or something like that. Just a great performance from someone that honestly is still learning, and now the mandatory challenger for the WBC world title. And you can't take that away.
Eddie, I suppose you're in a position now where he does want to fight again. You want him to fight again and not just sit there waiting for that, what he's already got. Yeah. But it must be difficult to try and match him now because how risky do you go with it when he's sitting there mandatory?
Honestly, you don't really. I mean, look, unless a fight comes up that is a fight that he loves and is a fight that is a huge money fight, and maybe, I don't know. But really, he's mandatory. You know, we work so hard to get to this position. You know, we know about the 600 days, and listen, the WBC, we're together, you know? Maurizio Sulaiman, we're in a good place.
When do you think it happens? May?
Well, that's the deadline. You know,
so it's got to happen before May?
End of May, yeah. But I mean, it's, you know, within the rules, that's the rules. And obviously we've got a resolution that's been papered and, you know, we're happy with that. Dillian's, you know, Dillian rightfully is not dubious, but, you know, he's like, oh, I know boxing. I said, yeah, and it's right. But this is where we go to work, you know? So now you're mandatory. You've never been mandatory before. We've been number one for a long time, but you've never been official mandatory challenger before. Right now, Dillian Whyte is the official mandatory challenger. So who is a WBC champion at the moment?
Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder. Dillian Whyte is your mandatory.
I suppose it would make things easier for you if Ortiz wins. Because then you haven't got to wait for another fight.
No, yeah, I mean...
But he wants Wilder.
They'd probably give him the ring, you know, they'd probably allow the rematch.
Yeah, of course.
Look, at the end of the day, we're not stupid. We know how the game works, right? Maurizio Sulaiman, whilst everybody might not agree with things that governing bodies do, Maurizio Sulaiman's got me phoning him every day, right? Maurizio, what are you going to do for Dillian Whyte? He's also got Deontay Wilder saying, hang on, I just boxed a mandatory. What is going on here? It's not my fault. He's also got Bob Arum phoning him going, you can't let Whyte be mandatory. You've got to let this Fury Wilder fight take place. So in this game, you've got to duck and dive. You've got to know how it works. You know? People don't do you favours week in, week out. They try and help everybody because that's how these governing bodies work. And it's not corrupt. It's not dodgy. It's just that they've got all these people phoning them up all the time, pushing their fighters, pushing their fighters, pushing their fighters. So sometimes I'll be fuming with Maurizio. Sometimes Maurizio will think I'm an arsehole. But that's the game. And we respect them. And we follow their code. And we respect their code, whether we understand and appreciate their decisions all the time. Of course not. They're not going to appreciate and understand our decisions all the time. That's another thing called life. Right? So what we do know is he's now mandatory. Right? So if it's in May, fantastic. If it's in June, okay. If it's in July, well. But if he's going to box in November, December, so what?
But hang on, you're saying June, July, but you're saying that it has to be done by May.
That's the ruling. But Coogan, I understand business and boxing.
So something, okay.
That's the rule, and we'll be pushing everything. But at the end of the day, if it crept into June, all right, we ain't going to have a baby about it. You know? Right. But I'm realistic at the same time.
All right, let's talk about Chisora. Stunning knockout of Spilka. A fight that a lot of people thought that Derek would lose.
And I have to be honest, so I was one of them, but I was very concerned about that fight. He hates southpaws. And I spoke to David Hay 10 days ago, and he just said, Ed, like, I can't believe we picked a southpaw. Like, sparring's not gone great. And then all of a sudden, he has a couple of good spars. And he was told to just harass Spilka. You know, the first round was brilliant. It was a brutal knockout. And you know that sometimes...
Good to see him walking out the ring as well, Spilka.
But sometimes especially as heavyweights, you can come back from defeats, but you can improve as a fighter because you've got the experience. You know your way around the ring. You know, look at some of the great heavyweights who, and I'm not saying Derek Chisora's George Foreman, but some of them have gone on and actually improved over age or won world titles age because they're experienced. They know the game. And that's what Chisora. Yeah, Chisora knows the game inside out. He knows what he's got to do. He's going to harass you. He's going to beat you up. He's going to try and outlast you. But what we saw tonight was actually electric from Derek. You know, sometimes he sort of soaks it up, gets punched around the ring and sort of outlasts you. That was actually electric. So that tees up a massive fight with Parker. Really, and a good fight, by the way. And actually, what you need when you try and make a fight like that is actually people going, okay, no, Chisora might win that, you know? As opposed to the Gashi performance where you go, nah, I don't think he's got anything left. Now you see that and go, fuck me, if he fought like that against Parker, it'd be an absolute war.
David Haye said that this potentially could either headline its own show or go on a Joshua card with Ruiz. Is that?
Yeah, possibly. Or it could, I mean, it's a kind of fight that could go on a triple header pay-per-view. It's the kind of fight that we'd like to try and headline its own show, which is great, yeah. And, you know, it ain't easy. Can you imagine the conversation negotiating this fight with Derek Chisora and David Haye? This is my life, right? So, and after that performance as well. Yeah. But listen, we'll it's a fight, obviously, I work with both guys. We promote Joseph Parker, and we work with David Haye and Derek Chisora. And both guys want that fight. So hopefully we can be sensible and get it made. I saw your headline, like, pay me more money or something like that. Was on.
Just pay me money. Yeah. Just pay me money. Just had a text from Darren Barker to say,
I've got an update.
He's
so
okay. He's waiting for a scan.
Yeah,
so what happened? Can you
he's broken his orbital bone, I believe, his cheekbone.
Yeah.
He had a terrible cut laceration down his tongue, and he just. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the performance. He'll know that it wasn't a great performance, but he didn't really seem himself, particularly through the middle stages of the fight. And I don't know whether he was repeatedly hurt in the fight. We don't know if that was because of his broken cheekbone, which obviously to even fight on with a broken cheekbone is madness.
Take nothing away from Price, obviously.
Mate, David Price schooled him. Schooled him. I mean, it was a great performance. And actually, I feel a bit for David Price because everyone will be talking about either Dave Allen's bad performance or that he was taken away on a stretcher. But respect David Price's performance because he stuck behind a jab, he hit him hard and often, he controlled the pace of the fight, and you saw what it meant to him after, you know? And by the way, that's 3 wins on the bounce now for David Price. That's Cash Ali, Tom Little and Dave Allen's 3 domestic wins. And I'm not saying he's going to go on and fight for a world title, but one thing Dave Allen will do is fight again. Dave Price, sorry.
What's the chances of you sticking in David Price in with Povetkin on that August 31st card? Because you had a plan for Allen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously their fault, but it was, I don't know.
Because you don't promote David Price.
No, but I'm fond of him, and I've been involved in his last 8 fights, I don't know. So, although I don't have a contract with David Price, I kind of feel like he's promoter, so, but he's free to, go where he wants, but we pay him very well, and I like him, and I think he's an exciting fighter, to be honest with you. And I think he's gaining confidence. Still got the frailties. That's always makes him exciting.
Can we rule out this big heavyweight fight for August 31st now, or not necessarily? Well, you said that Povetkin would fight Allen if he won.
There'll actually be 2 heavyweight fights on that card.
Okay. Who will fight on that card?
You'll find out in the next few days.
Will Povetkin still fight on the card?
Quite possibly, yeah.
Okay. I know we probably have a press conference soon, Edward, but 2 great fights with Riakporhe and Billum Smith.
Yeah, that was a great fight.
And Aziz and Duffield.
Yeah, I mean, Aziz and Duffield was, it's a shame it was on at 6 o'clock, really. And it was a good old school fight. I thought it was a great performance from Dan Aziz. You told me to sign him. And, respect to Charlie Duffield, who's gutted, but he'll come again. Thought Riakporhe, Billum Smith was great to watch. I mean, Riakporhe is crude, but he hits so hard. And Billum Smith's very, very good. And I said to Billum Smith after, those 2 deserve credit because they're both going in, 9-0 and 8-0, something like that. They don't. But you can't be afraid to take those kind of fights, especially if you don't have that big TV deal. Like, look at Billum Smith. Everyone would like to see him fight again, right? Look at the domestic setup at cruiserweight. I'm talking about the guys. Cody's going to go and box for the European title. You've got Craig Glover, you've got Sam Hyde, you've got Tommy McCarthy. You know, all these guys. You've got Luau, just won yesterday. You know,
boxer,
this is a good division. So don't be afraid to lose a fight. I will 1,000,000% give Chris Billam-Smith another fight. 1,000,000%.
Loma-Campbell Campbell obviously officially announced today, and it's so funny just seeing Loma-Campbell and Usyk like around the O2. They're just loving life.
But go on.
You're giving Campbell a shot in this, and many won't.
No, listen, if I didn't give Campbell a shot,
I
wouldn't bother doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't cheap, but I just feel that, you know, a lot of the criticism this year has been, oh, we're not getting any big names fighting in UK anymore, and it would have been easy to take this fight to the US, you know, but I just think Luke's got a chance in the fight. I really do, and you saw me with Loma and Usyk giving it the old 1-1 England v Ukraine, and Lomachenko thinks he wins this fight with ease. You could see that, couldn't you, in his body language? Do you not think that?
Yeah. But it probably goes into every fight with that mentality.
Luke is a very stubborn individual and a very underrated fighter. You've got to understand, these guys followed each other around the world, boxing amateur tournaments. They know each other, you know, very, very well, technically. And they're both Olympic gold medalists. And for me, this is probably one of the toughest fights for Lomachenko in the division, in Luke Campbell. Style-wise, over in England. And we did a pre-sale today at the O2, which was huge. Huge.
Well, you're astounded if that didn't sell out.
We've got Fight Pass tomorrow, and then we got General Sale on Monday. I think it'll all be gone.
I'm with a crowd guest tonight. It looked around.
I mean, by the way, the Fight Disciples, those boys, I saw one of them. I actually sent them a message going, "Oh, it's sit where you want at the O2 tonight." I'm like,
what?
I mean, did you see it?
No, not the tweet I did.
No, the arena.
Yes, I did.
There wasn't a fucking seat. I mean, in the lower bowl on two sides, we had, I think, just under 13,000 in. I mean,
can I tell you one thing?
Yeah.
I didn't have a seat here.
Oh, good.
Someone
you don't need a seat. You're
someone sat in my seat, and then I couldn't find another one around.
It was a great crowd, great atmosphere. Hope everyone enjoyed it.
Pay-per-view buys, any indication?
No. I mean,
tracking
all very. Like, to be honest with you, Dillian Whyte's been very consistent over the Parker, Chisora, and this is, you know, the early reports are basically same kind of levels. So.
Okay. You're off to Dallas next week, but we can
go to Dallas on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Monday is the Loma-Campbell press conference.
Yes.
Huge fight next weekend. Hooker Ramirez, WBC, WBO unification. Tevin Farmer defending his world title. See, Demetrius Andre there.
Yeah.
So he texts me 2 days ago and goes, "Bro, I want to come to London." And I replied about 8 hours later going, "Yeah, let's work it out sometime." And then I just literally saw him in the corridor. So, yeah, great banter.
You dick. All right.
Yeah, so.
Pressing now?
Yes.
But is he been drug tested?
Yeah, they're doing it now, but they'll follow him till he's...
Edward, thank you very much.